Saving Marty, Chapter 21, Bad Fruit. Sunday morning, while Mom was off at church and Devil was at the hospice playing cards with war buddies, I was in the orchard with lots of fruit to pick before Pal came over for rehearsal. We still hadn't settled on a song, and the jamboree was 6 days away. Mason was right about the fruit. Put a slice on your tongue, and it was closer to sandpaper than silk. Marty didn't mind, though. He gobbled up every last peach I tossed him when he wasn't pestering me to throw his slimy ball. Finally, he conked out next to Bella in the grass. He was 4 times her size now. I didn't let him sleep long in the June sun. His fur thinned on his snout, and he burned easily. I took him inside and slicked him with aloe. He kept trying to lick it off my fingers. My hands were greasy, my arms scratched from picking. I filled up the sink and cleaned up. I couldn't stop thinking about the other thing Mason said, that he knew my dad, and the way he said it. He said he was sad and something else, like disappointed. My eyes went to the angel statue Mom kept in the windowsill. I'd seen it 1,000 times, but now it looked different. She seemed to be watching me. I picked up the statue for a closer look. It was cheap plastic. The angel's smile was painted on crooked and a little too red. I had a hunch now why Mom felt so betrayed. Chapter 22. The Angel. Dear Lorenzo, your mom will keep these letters safe for us, and when you're older, say 10 years from now, we can read them together. Then you'll see the things I'm seeing over here in a world so distant from Maple Church, so different, so much the same. And I'll better remember this place and how it's changing me. That's important, the remembering. It's what we build upon as we try to become who we are meant to be. Everything I see here amazes me, and yes, some of it scares me. The things people do to each other, the things I've done. Better I tell you about the good. I'm still not sure I believe in the heavenly choir, but I do know an angel on earth. Her name is Hannah. She lost everything in the war, her home, her children, her husband. She comes to the clinic to donate blood. She travels at great risk with all the fighting going on over here. She knows we can never have enough blood on hand. Her blood, it's all she has left, and she gives it away. Lorenzo, Hannah makes me want to believe in miracles. Chapter 23, The Smokescreen. Believe in miracles. I'd read that letter dozens of times since Mom gave it to me a couple of years earlier when I turned 10. When Dad wrote the things I'd done, I always thought that he meant he'd kill someone. Army medics carry guns to defend themselves. But maybe he was talking about Hannah, the angel who made him want to believe in miracles. Marty watched me. He rested his head in my lap and trembled, reading my fear. Did my father fall in love with Hannah? My bicycle was found parts and screeched on the uphills. So did I. I was wheezing when I got to Mason's. He was known to work 7 days a week. He was there all right, on the phone, worn-out boots on his desk. I knocked on the glass. He coughed smoke when he saw me. He came to the door, but he didn't open it. What now? He asked. It's about my dad. He sucked his cigarette like it was a milkshake straw and breathed the smoke out through his nose. He opened the door and held it for me. You coming in or not? Is the dog here? I said. Which dog? The one who wanted to eat my pig? I said. He looked around the office. I guess not. I never know what they're up to. I mean, they are dogs. Born to roam, I said. Hey, that's right. Sit. You smoke? I'm 12. Oh, I thought you were 14. He took back his cigarette box. So how did you know him, my father? He worked for me from time to time, painting apartments and such. The cigarette fumes in there made me want to hurl. Was he the type to be unfaithful to his wife? I said. What the hey are you talking about? Mason said. I showed him the letter. He read it. This doesn't mean anything. Then who is she, this Hannah lady? A blood donor, like it says here. How am I supposed to know? You could find out, I said. You know people. What people? Mason said. Army people, the veterans you hire. Mason frowned. Are you about to cry? No. Ah, sheesh, Mason said. He pushed me a tissue box and lit another cigarette. And now he had 2 going. He tapped his phone screen. I'm sure my buddy over at the VA jobs program has nothing better to do on a gorgeous Sunday morning than dig up your dad's file and try to connect him to somebody named Hannah from 12 years ago. He nodded to a model of a condominium complex spread out by a table. Go look at how nice those brand new condos are going to fit perfectly on the fine land you people are wasting on peaches, for goodness sake. Go and let me get to this. The model was detailed, right down to the tiny plastic people frozen mid-stride in the streets. He wanted to dam the river and build a mall where it ran now. Even the hills were gone. Everything was just flat. I sat back in a chair. As bad as the smoke was, the air conditioning was nice. I hadn't slept much the past few nights, or months really, and I conked out. I was too tired to even dream. When I woke, the clock said it was 45 minutes ahead. Uh-huh, Mason said into the phone. Wait, say again? Uh-huh, that's what I thought you said. Uh-huh, yep, uh-huh. He tossed the phone onto his desk. You find her? I said. Uh-huh. What was that all about then? Say it again and all that. Small talk, he said. He lit a cigar now. Mr. Mason, you're a bad liar. How dare you, he said. Folks say I'm a good liar. Look, all I learned is what we already knew. Your daddy was a hero. Then why'd you seem so disappointed in him yesterday right before you got into your truck? I'm disappointed he's not still here, he said, and he puffed so much smoke I could barely see him. Marty Ventura worked hard, no goofing off. Had a nice smile, too. Genuine, you know what I mean? He was honorable. Forget about this Hannah idea. Mason slapped his desktop. You don't need to be fooling around with this stuff. It's in the past, see? Be in the now, or however these fruitcake hipsters say it, be a man. When I was your age, I didn't have my daddy around either, and look at how I turned out. And I certainly wasn't lollygagging on a Sunday. Get a move on and go find yourself some work, wasting half my day on a loafer. And you're welcome. Thanks, I said. Close the door behind you before you let the dog out. He said, I'm just kidding, but I like the way you jumped there. I walked my bike down the porch steps. Maybe there was no cheater's tarnish on my dad's Bronze Star, but I wasn't any closer to uncovering the secret that fed Mom's anger all these years. Mason was right. Did I really want to find out my dad wasn't a hero after all? It was best to let it all lie. I looked over my shoulder as I rode off. The Army recruiter was peeking through the window. He nodded hi to me, and I pedaled away fast. Chapter 24, Finders Keepers. I skidded into the barn in time to meet Pal for rehearsal, except she wasn't there. Bella was out on the front porch. The side door was open, the inside knob mangled with tooth marks. Marty, I called. Marty! 90 degrees that day, and I was cold all over. I rode down the hill so fast my feet came off the pedals. Pal was running up the driveway. I was coming round the bend, she said, short of breath. He was down the road, heading for the school. I'm calling to him, chasing him. He breaks into a run. This pickup turns, cuts him off. He cowers. 3 boys jump out and haul him into the truck bed. Taylor's, I said, plus the one with the cut-off sleeves. The Taylor's was 10 minutes by bike if I didn't crash. Wren's, wait, you can't go up there by yourself. The Taylors lived by the incineration plant. The air smelled like meat forgotten on the grill. Weed trees overgrew the long switchback driveway up all uphill. I'd have thrown up if my stomach wasn't empty. I followed where the truck had worn dirt stripes through the cheat grass. Taylor's dog howled from far away. I followed the baying into the wildwood until the vines were too thick for my bike. I pushed through on foot into a clearing. There was a moldy trailer and junk piled against it. Car parts, tiles, tires, old office furniture, things you can sell for $10 here and there. Now I understood Mr. Taylor's family. Anger. The Taylor family needed that $400 TV even more than we did. The hound's baying was louder. Behind the trailer, 2 men sat in broken chairs and sipped beers. Howdy, pig boy, the jerk with no sleeve said. I bet right about now you're realizing you shouldn't have come up here. Tommy, quit it, the other said. You want to go to jail? Kid, I'm serious. You need to run. I ran, all right, towards Marty squealing. They tied him to a dead oak tree next to an antler bone tree. The dirt was greasy with blood tar. Mr. Taylor had his butcher's knife out. Marty gnashed like a trapped dog. The long-haired son tried to snare Marty's legs with a clothesline. Hold him still already, Mr. Taylor said. Poor animal is out of his mind. You want the meat to taste like fear? I ran head down and hit Mr. Taylor hard enough to take him off his feet. We were rolling in the bramble. His sons got into the mix, and then musclehead Tommy. Mr. Taylor yelled, quit smacking him. Get him to your truck. Take him home. I grabbed into the weeds so they couldn't drag me away. I'm not leaving without my pig, I said. He was roadside. No tag, Mr. Taylor said. Finders keepers. I'll send you some steaks. I rolled onto my side and shin-kicked him. Ah! The old man hopped and glared at the bald son. Jason, get my rifle. The Taylor's sweet old hound bounded in and licked my face. Mr. Taylor grabbed that dog by the collar. He stroked him gently and said, easy, boy. Go on inside now. The dog scurried into the trailer as Baldy Jason came out with a shotgun. Idiot, the old man said. I said my rifle. We'll be chewing shot into next winter. You know what? Never you mind. He drew a pistol and checked the chamber. The 4 of you get that boy out of here. Go on, pick him up. An arm and a leg for each. There you go. No need to rub salt in the wound. By making him watch. You bring him home in one piece, Tommy. Hear me? Tommy didn't hear too well because he kicked me hard enough to rattle my teeth. Mr. Taylor aimed his pistol at Marty's head. Marty squealed as they dragged me off, and his squealing turned into wailing, like a siren. It was a siren. Mr. Taylor cursed a string as the police cruiser zoomed in. I swear Mr. Lee was out of that car before it stopped. Afternoon, gentlemen. Kindly stop roughing up Lorenzo. Step over to the car and put your hands on the roof, palms up. I'll need you to do the same, Mr. Taylor, sir. And I'll need you to get off my property, Deputy Droop-along. Holster your sidearm, sir. I won't ask you twice. Or what, sir? Mr. Lee drew his gun. Or I'll have to shoot for the center of mass. Center of what? Taylor said. Your heart, sir, if you have one. Mr. Lee, hush now, Lorenzo. Taylor, you and your boys will put your hands on the top of the cruiser, or I will compel you to do so. You and what army? Said Mr. Taylor. Oh, they'll be along shortly, Mr. Lee said. In fact, that's them now. The sirens whooped and squealed. Marty and I rode home in the back of Mr. Lee's cruiser. I was shaken. Marty licked my face like I had been pied. All things considered, I think we came out of that one pretty good, Mr. Lee said. Mr. Lee, thank you. Breathe, Renzo. Everything's going to be all right. I do have to tell you, though, son, back at the police academy you had a saying, don't be a hero. You heard that one before, huh? Yes, sir. Heroes go to heaven. Let's keep you here with us a little meanwhile, all right? Let's keep you here with us along meanwhile, all right? I couldn't stop thinking about Mr. Taylor. That nasty man was so sweet to his dog, and land grabber Mason, too. He was so nice to me. It didn't make sense. Marty nudged my hand for petting. His eyes reflected the trees and sunbreaks and zipping by the window. Mom was waiting out front when we pulled up. Mr. Lee and Pal walked away to let her give me an earful. She sort of pulled my hair, too, which was her way of hugging me, I guess. And then something happened. Something amazing. Marty leaned into Mom's leg, and she let him. She even scratched him a little bit behind his ear.